So, as part of our business analysis learning in context to artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, all that. Today we are going to discuss about what are the different deep learning techniques that we normally use as a BA in artificial intelligence. So when it comes to the deep learning techniques are concerned, there will be many, right? So one is about neural networks, like conventional neural networks, which is called of NLP, about natural language processing and all. Next about recursive neural networks, followed by autoencoders, generative adversarial networks. At the same time, image analysis, time series analysis, predictive analysis. So there were many techniques generally we use when it comes to the deep learning techniques are concerned from the business analyst point of view. The one which I was mentioned over here, it's about convolutional neural networks, recursive neural networks, autoencoders, and at the same time, generative adversarial networks and all. So apart from that, we have other even techniques generally we use. So let me list out those first, then I will explain one by one. The first one about as far as the techniques are concerned, apart from the one which I was mentioned here that I am explaining you, because these are the add-ons in addition to that, because these are all different things, like when it comes to the neural networks and all that, whatever the NLP process that we follow. Okay, at the same time, whatever the convolutional as well as recursive neural networks are concerned, this is all um, in addition to the NLP process that we follow. So the first one about in NLP, which is about natural language processing that we use. And second is called image analysis. Apart from the techniques that I was mentioning over here, so I'm explaining you apart from these. Okay. Next about the image analysis. Next about time series analysis. Because due to the space thing, I couldn't mention all that. So that I'm mentioning all here. Next about the predictive analytics. These are even now and then we are using all that. Next we are using clustering and pattern recognition, etc. Right. So these are the different techniques generally we use. So the first one, as I told you, one is about NLP, which is about natural language processing. Because if you want to analyze any unstructured text data from any kind of sources, something like any customer feedback or any kind of social media or any kind of emails, to extract whatever the exact meaning and as well as patterns and all, generally NLP is something that we use. So using NLP, so we can analyze the unstructured data, text data, so that we can understand about the meaning and as well as patterns which are behind that. At the same time, even we have another analysis that we do as a BA, complete artificial intelligence BA with AI learning, right? So deep learning and all. Sentimental analysis is also one of the things. Under sentimental analysis, like whenever customer feedback you want to know, right? So if you want to extract or if you want to automate any kind of customer services, everything from the business application point of view, we can use it. The second about the image analysis, as I told you, because using this deep learning model to usually we are using to recognize what are the patterns as well as features in images. At the same time, if there is any kind of quality control, especially in manufacturing, for example, right, when you are using, right, so any fraud detection in visual records, or if you want to analyze any customer engagements, everything can be done using image analysis. Next one about the time series analysis, wherein if you want to process any kind of data collected over any specific time range to identify the trends and as well as to make predictions and all, time series analysis is also being used. Fourth one about predictive analytics. Predictive analytics uses majorly for deep learning. majorly to understand about the factors that are influencing the outcomes and as well as predicting future events or behavior. For that, predictive analytics is being used. So predictive, it's more or less now and then, if you remember, as far as the business analytics rules are concerned, from the business analytics point of view, even all these things will be interrelated because business analytics majorly we know about the prediction about future, etc., all that. So by implementing artificial intelligence and deep learning, so we can identify the exact patterns, right? So what decisions to be taken, everything can be instructed to the system so that system can take decisions accordingly. Last but not least, one is about the clustering and as well as pattern recognition, as I told you. Yeah, clustering and pattern recognition, I told you. Because if there is any unsupervised learning techniques that we want to group relating to any kind of data points, or if you want to uncover any kind of hidden relationships, any kind of large data sets, everything can be done using this clustering and pattern recognition and all that. So these are the additional techniques, as I told you, right? So apart from the convolutional neural networks and all, at the same time, recursive neural networks, or it can be autoencoders, or it can be generative adversarial networks and all. So these are the additional ones, whatever NLP, whatever I told you, all these things will be part of deep analysis, deep learning techniques that generally we use. So apart from that, we must be knowing about convolutional neural networks, etc. So that we must be knowing. So convolutional neural networks majorly relates to any, for example, if you are using any specialized convolutional layers to automatically learn any kind of features, or else if you want to analyze any kind of patterns from any kind of grids, like any kind of data, right? So, or any kind of notable images that we have identified, everything for that, generally these convolutional neural networks are being used. So apart from that, we have recursive neural networks, which I already told you. Recursive neural networks were also there. Recursive neural networks majorly focusing on which majorly applies, I can say, which majorly applies the kind same set of weights which recursively to structured any kind of input data. Something like if you want to mention any kind of trees to produce any structured or scalar predictions, etc. So for that, generally this recursive neural networks are being used. At the same time, we have even autoencoders we have, right? So autoencoders is also one of the deep learning technique generally we use. These autoencoders majorly focusing on the kind of ability that we need to understand, whatever the required data that we want to manage, right? So, or if you want to generate any kind of autoencoder data, right? So, because let's say any unsupervised data that we have identified, okay, if you want to reconstruct that, right? So, at the same time, whatever the inputs that we want to mention by encoding whatever the compressed representations, etc. Everything for that, generally autoencoders are being used so that it encodes the data and it will show you whatever the required results that are needed. So everything will be shown by the autoencoders and all that. Next one about generative adversarial networks in networks also. This is also one of the technique generally we use. Using this technique, generally, for example, any kind of two neural networks we have. Okay, so at the same time, if you want to identify the generator and as well as discriminator to create any kind of new or realistic data which resembles any kind of training set and all that. At this level, generally we generator we use to produce new samples and all. For example, any kind of images and all that. At the same time, discriminator tries to distinguish the generator samples from real ones, etc. So by implementing this, generally through this adversarial networks, generative adversarial networks, as I told you. So we can generate learns to create increasingly authenticating of data. At the same time, whatever the discriminators that we are mentioning, right? So to become better any detection fakes or any kind of leading to any kind of generating high realistic outputs, everything can be given in this regard. So these are the different deep learning techniques for a business analyst one should know. So as in when we are going in detail to the role of a business analyst in artificial intelligence, there were many other, but these are the major ones. As in when the 4 points followed by 5. These are the 9 ones. But in the real world, whenever we are working in projects, especially NLP is being used majorly. This we are using. Let me mark it, right? So NLP you must be knowing, right? So NLP we must be knowing. At the same time, time series and predictive analysis and analytics. So these are the major. At the same time, even clustering pattern recognitions also we are using. Image analysis and all everything for any geographical projects we are working on any geographical images or something. In that context, general image analysis we are using. Even in healthcare, right? We are using. Apart from that, these are the major ones, right? So these are the major ones which normally we use. From a business analyst point of view, you need to identify what are these techniques are all about, and how this can be imparted by AI development team, ML development team. So we need to support and whatever the requirements that are needed by identifying the patterns and all that requirements as a BA we have to write. So for that reason, knowing about these techniques are important in deep learning as part of the AML for any business.